Mario Kart has always been my go-to choice when it comes to party games. I mean, sure, you have your Mario parties and its various clones, like Shrek Party, Ew, Smash, and whatever Sonic Shuffle is trying to be, but for some reason, Mario Kart has always been my go-to. I think this really comes down to the simplicity and accessibility that the series has become known for. Mario Party, at least in my circle, has always been hated by everyone but me. There's a lot of buttons, different rules for every game, and can be brutally unfair. Smash isn't even really a party game. It's insanely punishing if you're someone new going up against someone who has even the slightest bit of experience. So that's immediately off the table. Okay, and that leaves us with Mario Kart. Mario Kart is perfect for this. Motion controls in the more modern games for the dinosaurs, better items the further back you are for the bad players, and CPUs that slow down and speed up with you to keep the difficulty feeling, well, good. Now we even have auto accelerate and auto item usage. It's simply the perfect party game. This is all me saying I've played a lot of Mario Kart for a variety of reasons with a variety of people. My natural next thought after realizing this was, how could I make a video about Mario Kart? I know, I'll rank them because nobody's ever done that before. God damn it. Here we go. All of these games have been played on original hardware and as close to their original settings as I can get to give them the fairest assessment. I have a problem with bloating my intros, so let's just get this started. Number 13, Mario Kart Arcade GP and its various versions. This game being so low really comes down to one simple reason. It's an arcade game. There's no official way to play it at home as far as I'm aware, and for that simple reason, I've barely touched it. I really rarely even get the chance to go to arcades, and when I do, Mario Kart either just isn't there or isn't something I'd choose to play. Now, from the little I have played and seen, the tracks are generic because of the limited controls and the variety of people that are going to be playing the game. The music is good, but I mean, it's Mario Kart, so of course it is. Here are some highlights. And the character roster in some versions is pretty unique, with these arcade games being some of the only ones to feature certain characters. Overall, not much to say due to my lack of experience with these titles, thus it gets the bottom of the list. Probably a fun time waster at an arcade, but nothing more. Number 12, Mario Kart Home Circuit. Yet another game I have almost no experience with. Mario Kart Home Circuit is Mario Kart in real life. You play with physical carts and tracks made out of your house with checkpoints you place yourself, and that's pretty much it. This game is just Mario Kart but worse because you're limited to your space. I'm sure you could make something awesome, but at the end of the day there's only so much you can do in your house. The track selection, obviously, is whatever you can make out of your space, so naturally it's probably the worst in the series. Again, it's Mario Kart, so the music is going to be good. Here are some tracks that stood out to me. The price tag is really what holds this game back for me. It launched at a staggering $100 and is currently discontinued, meaning you'll probably be spending upwards of double that original price. It's just too hard to justify spending $100 on a gimmick that you probably won't use more than once. It's above Mario Kart Arcade GP for the sole fact that it can be played from the comfort of your bedroom. Again, not much to say about this game, mostly because of my lack of experience. Number 11, Super Mario Kart. It's really no surprise that this game comes in as the worst of the real Mario Kart games. Playing this game is just not fun, and that's been said 100 times over. Playing this game on modern hardware especially is absolutely insufferable. Playing on an actual SNES though does win at some points. The controls feel slightly better, and something about playing on original hardware makes some of the game's shortcomings a little easier to forget. But that doesn't change the fact that this game sucks absolute monkey balls. Everyone knows the CPU's cheat, the items suck at actually helping you get ahead because of the slippery controls and terrible homing of the red shells, and drifting is more trouble than it's worth because you'll likely just end up slamming into everything you try and drift around. The tracks are possibly the worst of the series. They are generic, clearly not balanced around the game's terrible controls, and the names are as boring as they come. I mean, look at this. Yo, dude, you want to play Donut Plains 1, 2, or 3? This game is also insanely difficult. This is because, like I said before, the CPUs straight up cheat. They have their own items they can use whenever they want, and certain obstacles just don't affect them. The game also has controls so bad that you have no hope of ever maintaining any sort of rhythm or flow, making it really hard to keep any type of lead. And sure, I know this kind of difficulty was more standard back when this game came out, but that doesn't change the fact that it's just not fun for a Mario Kart game to be this difficult for unfair reasons. The music is still good, with it being some of the better music to come out of the Super Nintendo. Here are some of the songs that stuck out to me personally. Overall, this game just struggles to be enjoyable for me, largely because of things like its small character roster, which of course is understandable for the time, awful controls, boring tracks, and brutal difficulty that makes the player feel like their losses are just because the game decided it doesn't like you. This game pioneered a series that's still going strong today, and it certainly earns some points for that. But that doesn't change the fact that this game is just not worth your time, and you'd probably have more fun with literally any other game on this list. Number 10, Mario Kart Tour. Hear me out. So what if we put this on this and pump it full of microtransactions? What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Mario Kart Tour is the Mario Kart mobile game, and I mean, it could be worse. Playing this game on launch was an interesting experience. The game was quite bare bones, and you were locked into the vertical gameplay style, which kinda sucked. Playing now, after it's received all the content it will ever get, is a little bit better, but the game still leaves plenty to be desired. The tracks are just okay, but it's understandable considering the conditions people will likely be playing this game in. The game controls, which I guess is fine considering it's on your phone, but it does feel agonizingly slow, and the controls can simultaneously feel incredibly unresponsive and too responsive at the exact same time. It has plenty of variety in its items and has some unique ones we're still yet to see in mainline entries. The music, like every other game, is pretty good. Here are some of my favorites. And hey, for what it's worth, if you want Mario Kart in your pocket, I mean, sure, nowadays there are better ways to go about it, and there were also better ways to go about it when this game released, but you still won't have a bad time or anything like that. And here comes the bad. The game being on your phone is as much a curse as it is a blessing. It severely limits all aspects of the game and leaves everything feeling very bleh. The game also, for me, just gets really boring really fast due to the limitations that it being a phone game puts on it. But I mean, it's probably only meant to be played in short bursts anyway, so whether this is actually a fault is up for you to decide. The game also really just doesn't feel like Mario Kart for a variety of reasons, such as the game being more focused on score than where you actually place at the end of a race. Finally, this game is absolutely a mobile game. It's pumped full of microtransactions and loot boxes, and while yes, you don't have to spend anything, the game's progress will be super slow if you don't. Overall, this game is fine, but I don't find myself ever wanting to play it, and it suffers from traditional mobile game issues. If you want the Mario Kart Tour experience, you can play many of its tracks through Mario Kart 8 Deluxe anyways, leaving minimal reason to ever play it if 8 Deluxe is an option. Number 9. Mario Kart Super Circuit, the first real Mario Kart made to be played on the go, and I mean, it certainly accomplished its goal. This is the first of what I would consider the fun Mario Kart games. There's nothing about this game that's really terrible that makes me not want to play it. It's the third game in the series, so it has the advantage of Nintendo actually sorta understanding how to make a decent Mario Kart game. This game is also still kinda low on the list, because while it is good for what it is, it's nothing amazing. Playing this game on modern emulation isn't great in all honesty. The controls still feel rough, with drifting especially still being a massive hurdle. Playing this game on an actual Game Boy Advance, on the other hand, will give you a fun time. It makes the controls feel a little bit more bearable, and just the novelty of playing Mario Kart on a Game Boy Advance is enough to make me smile. The tracks in this game are definitely a highlight, and that's no secret. Sure, you're limited when it comes to the actual track itself, but the atmosphere Nintendo was able to create for some of these tracks still goes unmatched, even over 2 decades later, with some obvious highlights being Sunset Wilds, Ribbon Road, and Sky Garden. All tracks we would end up seeing again, but none quite capturing the same feel they had in Super Circuit, especially Sunset Wilds. This game also introduced us to the concept of retro tracks, with the Super Mario Kart tracks returning for the first time since their creation. For a console with as unique a sound chip as the Game Boy Advance, I'm very pleasantly surprised by the music made for this game. Almost every song is memorable, and that opening theme is the definition of an earworm. Here were some of my favorites. Easily, this game's biggest issue is going for all stars on every track. This is something I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. The list of requirements is so incredibly idiotic that I'm sure even the greatest of Mario Kart players would struggle. Overall, this game has stellar music, phenomenal atmosphere, okay track design, kinda rough controls, and one of the worst rating systems I've ever seen. And it fits on a Game Boy Advance. What else could you want? It's a good game held back by the fact that in today's day and age, there are just plain better options when it comes to portable Mario Kart and Mario Kart in general. Number 8. Mario Kart 64. Man, this game is truly in a sad spot. It's not quite outright bad, but it's far from being anything super great, especially looking back through a modern lens. To be fair towards this game, it was only the second in the series and was created using what was at the time groundbreaking technology. With all that in mind, this game really isn't bad. It's a perfectly serviceable game, especially for its time. It is full of little quirks though, like the main races and items just actually being 2D images, which even though it doesn't really contrast in a bad way with 3D tracks, it still can be really distracting in the middle of a race. There's also no real rubber banding. The CPUs are just naturally difficult, which can make this game super unfun for new players. The music, as per usual, is pretty good. Here were some of my favorites. The battle mode, something I haven't really spoken about because it's usually nothing, is also really fun if you can get people to play, and the controls in this game are actually usable. Unfortunately, for this game, while everything I just mentioned is important and certainly saves it from being any lower, everything else I have to say is bad. The tracks. This game easily has the most forgettable tracks in the series. The tracks in Super Mario Kart, while bad, are memorable because of that, and the tracks in Super Circuit, while bland, are saved by their atmosphere. Almost every single track in this game, however, is just a pile of nothing. I can't even remember the theme of most of these tracks, and the tracks I do remember, I remember for the wrong reason. Wario Stadium, Calamari Desert, and Banshee Boardwalk are all tracks that stick out in my head as incredibly annoying. The rest just muddled together in a gigantic puddle of mediocrity. The controls. While they are finally an improvement and actually usable, playing this game on an actual N64 leads to controls that just don't live up to standards. But don't get me wrong, this is certainly one of the lesser issues. As a side note, red shells still don't work. Finally, this game is just plain unforgiving. I tried playing this game multiple times with people as a party game. None of them were willing to do more than one race. This game is just really hard to pick up and play, and if you do, you're not in for a good time. Overall, this is an okay game, it's just held back by its downright forgettable tracks and its near impossibility to pick up and play with some friends. Number 7. Mario Kart 8 Wii U. Let me start off by saying, this is a truly phenomenal game. If it weren't for a certain deluxe edition, this would easily be my second place pick. Unfortunately for this game, there's literally just no point in still playing it. The tracks, amazing. I can't think of even one I wouldn't like to play right now. The music, again, is absolutely stunning. The character roster is great. The game looks awesome. The controls are probably the best we've ever seen. And the kart customization, while not being my personal favorite, is undeniably a good thing. I know it was technically introduced in 7, but this is the first game where it truly shined. The unfortunate case of this game is that it's literally been near exactly remade for the Nintendo Switch with a whole lot more content, double item slots, and it's just on an objectively better system. While I personally love the Wii U, it sold terribly, and at least in my experience, tends to have a lot of issues. The Switch is one of the best-selling consoles of all time, and that's for good reason. Overall, this is a truly amazing game, but there's literally zero reason to ever play it unless you feel like using the gamepad. I also haven't said much about it here, because like I said, there is a near exact copy of it on the Nintendo Switch with a whole lot more content, and that's where I'll be covering almost everything that's in this game. Number 6. Mario Kart 7. I feel like this is the one mainline game in the series everyone seems to forget about, and I really don't understand why. This is a really good game, and a lot of things we see in the subsequent entries actually came from here. The most notable of these features are the ability to drive underwater and glide, and the extensive kart customization seen in 8 and 8 Deluxe. That's right, those things came from 7. That's the story of 7's life. It was sandwiched between Wii and 8, the two biggest and most influential games in the series, and I mean, poor little 3DS Mario Kart over here never stood a chance. And that's really a shame, because this is a really great game. The tracks are awesome, and there's still some in this game that we're yet to see return. And that really sucks, because like I just said, this game's tracks are nothing short of fantastic. I mean, you have Woohoo Loop, Maka Woohoo, and Daisy Hills. 3 amazing tracks we are yet to see reappear in a mainline game. So yeah, when it comes to tracks, this game is definitely my favorite we've looked at so far. Even the next game on this list doesn't beat this game's track selection. And the controls, they are just great. They were definitely my favorite of the series when this game came out, and still don't feel bad at all, especially on an actual 3DS. This is another game, like pretty much all of them, where your experience will be significantly worse through emulation. It's almost like these games are designed for certain systems, and not meant to be played with a generic controller on a PC. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not me saying I hate emulation. Especially in today's day and age, I have no issue with it, and getting an actual game on actual hardware is not something everybody can do. I'm just saying, if you're going to talk about a game for the purpose of reviewing its quality, you should probably play it the way it was meant to be played. The music is phenomenal, and I can't think of one song that I wouldn't want to listen to at this very moment. Here are some highlights. Overall, the tale of Mario Kart 7 is a sad one. It's a great game that excels in almost every area, but it's on a near-forgotten system, and if we're being honest, why would you ever go break out the 3DS when you could just play 8 Deluxe? 7 is an amazing game that's held back by the fact that nowadays most of its prominent features have been adopted into the newer and far more accessible titles. There's not much of a reason to ever go back unless you want to play Mario Kart on a 3DS and experience some amazing tracks that might be lost forever. Number 5. Mario Kart World. I hate this game. It's the very embodiment of modern Nintendo, a company I despise with all my being. It's $80, had over a decade of build-up and still to this day is lacking in content, launched with features people don't want shoved down their throats, got updates that shove those features down our throats even more, has put minimal effort into following up on community feedback, and has quite possibly the worst battle mode I've ever seen. This game clearly has love put into it, but it's made by one of the worst companies in modern gaming. Putting my personal bias aside, this game is really good. It's definitely the nicest looking game in the series, only rivaled by Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. The gameplay is extremely fluid, and the controls, despite being a little more complicated, still feel just as, if not better than they did on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The music is absolutely phenomenal. The OST is a full recreation of so many songs all throughout the history of Mario. It is truly one of the greatest OSTs in the history of gaming. If the music weren't so good, I can guarantee you this game would have been below Mario Kart 8. It's hard to find any music that really sticks out to me because they're all just so good, but these are the 3 I tend to think of when I play Mario Kart World. When it comes to this game's tracks, they're nothing special, at least for me. I think your enjoyment of these tracks really comes down to if you like the new parkour system, which I personally don't. These tracks are clearly made around the idea that you'll be using the parkour system as much as you can. The problem with that is the parkour is almost entirely useless if you're taking intended routes. Its only real use is taking crazy unintended shortcuts, all of which give me a headache just thinking about them. So yeah, the tracks are mostly meh for me, although some are pretty good. The return of Moo Moo Meadows is really great, I love that track. The new Rainbow Road is really something, and DK Spaceport is awesome to drive through. Most of the other tracks really just don't stick out as anything great in my head, especially Dino Dino Jungle, a track they absolutely massacred. A lot of them either feel far too simple or far too short. Again, not all, just most. There's a lot of empty space as well in some of these tracks that just gives off the feeling of emptiness. This is definitely the way it is to accommodate the now huge player count of 24. By the way, who the hell thought 24 racers at once was a good idea? 8 was good, 12 was perfect, 24 is way too much. You're always getting bumped around or hit by something, and it's just not fun. Not to mention the host of other issues having this many racers causes, like the scoring in races being absolutely destroyed. So yeah, when it comes to this game, the tracks and the player count are definitely my 2 biggest gripes. I really like the new open world. It's super fun to just drive around listening to the music. I also really enjoy all the new characters and their costumes, although I wish unlocking some of these was a little bit easier. Time to address the elephant in the room, the intermissions. I hate these things. They're just not fun in the slightest. If I wanted to drive in a straight line and only play one lap of the tracks I picked, I wouldn't be picking those tracks, now would I? They're really fun in Knockout Tour, a game mode where you race other players to remain in high spots as the lower ones are slowly disqualified, and I believe this is the only place they should be. I hate intermissions. One more thing, I feel like this game launched with, and still has, a massive lack of content. I think it only has around 30 tracks, which in today's day and age is nothing, especially when you remember they had over 10 years to develop this thing and are charging a staggering $80 for it. At the end of the day, this is a really great game with great music and tracks that may not be the best, but are still fun at the end of the day. It's just kept down by the intermissions, its price, and various design choices I personally am just not a fan of. Number 4. Mario Kart DS. We have finally reached the point where I believe these games are truly amazing. Every one of these next games I frequently find myself revisiting because they are just that great. They have minimal issues, and the ones they do have are massively outweighed by their strengths. Okay, so the first of these games is Mario Kart DS. This game is just good, plain and simple. The controls are the best in the snaking era of Mario Kart games. If you don't know what that means, in every game before Mario Kart Wii, you charged up drifts by moving the joystick or D-pad back and forth. If you became skilled at this, you could execute multiple drifts in a snake-shaped pattern. If you're good at snaking, it is slightly faster than just going in a straight line. There is no game where this is more prominent than DS. It's also the reason DS isn't any higher. I'm not very good at snaking, and overall, I massively prefer the more modern style of drifting. But that doesn't take away from this game's controls. The steering feels great, and the drifting, like I said before, is as good as you could get with the old system. The game, graphically while not being high fidelity, is beautifully stylized, and the pixelated graphics are only really noticeable when watching or playing through a screen like this. On an actual DS, it looks perfectly fine. The tracks aren't my favorite in the series or anything, but even the worst of them is just okay. The track selection as a whole is really quite good, with a few absolutely legendary tracks like Waluigi Pinball and TikTok Clock. This game's original tracks were clearly properly built around its controls, and it shows. This is easily the Mario Kart game with the most flow and rhythm. This is largely because of the old drift system, and like I said, the tracks are very clearly well thought out and executed. This game also has 32 whole tracks, which may not seem like a lot, but this game was following Double Dash, a game with only 16, and it's a DS game. Along with all those tracks is a really fun mission mode, something we're still yet to see return for some reason. The mission mode is really great and is a huge factor in why this game is as high as it is. It's simply really fun to just go through these missions trying to get the best score possible. When it comes to music, this game, like the rest, is good, but as you'll see with this game and the rest coming up, I believe this OST is on another level. All the future games' music are only rivaled by that of World. Here are some highlights from DS. At the end of the day, Mario Kart DS is a phenomenal game that probably would be a solid contender for my favorite if I just liked the old control system more. It's got an amazing sense of flow and the most consistently good tracks on average so far, and a soundtrack that could make a deaf person cry. This game is certainly worth digging up your old DS for, and I think you'll find this game to be something you'll want to revisit time and time again. Number 3. Mario Kart Double Dash. Putting this game above DS was definitely something I debated about. Honestly, you could flip-flop these games and I would have no issue. I just thought to myself, what game do I end up playing more? And Double Dash took that spot. It's honestly not because I like this game more or anything, it's just that I use my GameCube significantly more than my DS, and Double Dash is a GameCube game, so naturally it gets played more. The obvious thing about Double Dash is the 2 racers per kart. I really like this gimmick, and mastering flipping between your 2 characters to get certain items or hold more items adds a nice extra layer to what is on the surface a very simple game. This double character gimmick also made Nintendo put way more characters into this game than ever before. It has a whopping 20, which in our post-8 Deluxe and World, that probably doesn't seem like many, but this is only the 4th game in the series, and it's following Super Circuit, so 20 is not only the most we've seen so far, it's the most by a lot. And on top of that, you use these 20 characters to mix and match them in literally any way you want. This is super fun to experiment with because each character set has its own item, and finding your favorite combo for that specific set of tracks is really satisfying. When it comes to actually racing, the tracks are really good. You have absolutely amazing tracks in this game like Daisy Cruiser, Yoshi Circuit, and the absolutely legendary Baby Park. The controls also aren't bad at all. They're definitely unique and take some getting used to, but once you do, you are left with some of the most responsive and quick feeling controls, not just in Mario Kart, but the entire racing genre. Now, do I think they're as good as DS's or the games coming after this one? No, but they're still good for Double Dash specifically, and because of how this game plays, I feel they're exceptionally well made, despite the short learning period. Getting a hang of this game's controls combined with everything else this game has to offer is super fun, and leads to some of the most hype moments I've ever seen in a Mario Kart game. Another major thing in this game is items. This is a case where despite getting hit constantly, because of how Double Dash specifically plays, I think it actually contributes to the chaotically fun nature of this game. The music as well is amazing, and this game is host to some of the most iconic songs in the series. Here are some highlights. Now, despite everything I have said, this game has one major issue. It only has 16 tracks. This, at the time, wasn't a huge issue, as retro tracks weren't properly implemented until right after Double Dash. But in retrospect specifically, the lack of retro tracks seriously hurts this game. 16 just isn't enough, plain and simple. It wasn't enough when this game came out, and that problem is only more pronounced now. Overall, Double Dash is an exceptionally chaotic game in the best way possible. It's got some of the most satisfying controls in the entire racing genre, amazing tracks, iconic music, and is only hurt by its small track count. This is a game worth revisiting for the tracks and controls alone, and it will keep you coming back despite its age. Number 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This game is truly the Mario Kart. When someone asks if you want to play Mario Kart, this is probably what they're talking about. It has my favorite controls, an extensive character roster, an even more extensive kart customization system, the most tracks in any game ever at a whopping 96, a phenomenal soundtrack that's so good it makes a tear run down my leg, 200cc, a thriving multiplayer scene, one of the greatest DLCs ever, and probably the most consistently amazing tracks when taking their sheer quantity into account. This game is one of the greatest ever made, and objectively is honestly probably the best in the series. It's by far my most played, and it's always fun to break out at any time. It's accessible, it's simple, it's fun, and it's on the Switch, one of the best-selling systems of all time. What more could you want? When it comes to racing, like I've already said, the tracks are nothing short of spectacular. Big Blue, so many rainbow roads, Electrodrome, Dolphin Shoals, Mute City, Squeaky Clean Sprint, Sky High Sunday, Sweet Sweet Canyon, and the list just goes on. So many tracks have also been recreated, and many are in the best state we've ever seen, like Tick Tock Clock or Music Park. Hell, even Maple Treeway. These tracks and many others that have been put into this game are all remade from older titles, and for the most part, I think they've been made better. The controls are so good. They feel fluid, responsive. I mean, you just flow through these tracks like water. The shortcuts these controls make are also super satisfying, and unlike Mario Kart World, most can be done by any average player. The music as well is so good. It has so much of it, and to make that much music while maintaining such a high quality standard is a feat no one should ignore. I tried my best to pick out 3 that stuck out to me, but honestly, you could probably put any 3 here and you'd get the same level of greatness. What else do you want me to say? You know it, you love it, it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, objectively the best game in the series. There is no reason to not want to play this game. This game can be summed up in one word: breathtaking. Number 1, Mario Kart Wii. Yeah, I put this game up here for one reason. I grew up on it. The sheer joy I get from even seeing this game pop up on my Wii's home screen is paralleled by nothing else in this franchise. When I was younger, there were some times in my life that weren't the best. My Wii was my anchor. There was nothing this world could do to me that my Wii couldn't help. I had only 3 games on that system that I can remember. Those 3 were Mario Galaxy, Super Paper Mario, and Mario Kart Wii. I love this game to death. And while my memories with it undeniably are what gave it the top spot in my heart, it is still an objectively amazing game. The controls are amazing. It's what gave us the modern drifting style, my preferred style. The game feels fast, but the drifting caters to this speed. It strikes my favorite balance in the series between sharp and smooth, and this is just on the karts. If you really want an exhilarating experience, use an inside drifting bike. The unmatched sense of speed and control this gives you feels so good. If you didn't know, Mario Kart Wii has both karts and bikes. The karts are your standard Mario Kart experience. The bikes, on the other hand, are unique. They can only charge up one level of mini turbo, but they can wheelie. Wheelies limit your turning, but increase your speed on straights. Mastering the perfect combo of wheelies and drifts is so much fun. So the game has great controls. So does something like DS. Is that it? No, this game has easily my favorite track selection of the series: Mushroom Gorge, Rainbow Road, Coconut Mall, DK Summit, and Toad's Factory, my personal favorite track of all time. That's not all. Every single track in this game is a level of good in its own way that every other game struggles to even touch. And don't get me started on the music. It's easily my favorite soundtrack of the series. Here are some of my absolute favorite songs in all of Mario Kart. Now, the game does have some issues. I personally like the way it looks, but I can admit it's ugly. The bikes are also a very divisive change, and this game is notorious for its one-combo meta. Overall, Mario Kart Wii is an awesome game with amazing tracks, enough spectacle to make a blind man cry, great controls, my favorite soundtrack in the series, bikes, and motion controls. It's a little ugly and has some divisive changes that could seriously hinder your enjoyment, and a very defined meta. Overall, is this really the best game in the series? Probably not, but it's very special to me and so many others, and combining that with its quality earns it the top spot on my list. Whew, so that's it. That's the end of what was supposed to be a 15-minute long video that turned into a 40-minute one. I tried some new things with it, and overall, I think I'm happy with the result. If you don't like my opinions, that's fine. As I always say, everyone's allowed to have an opinion, I just happen to have the best ones. Of course, if you disagree with me, let me know about it in the comments. And if you have any feedback, feel free to drop that there as well. If you aren't in my Discord, there is a link to it in the description, and I highly recommend you join it because it is an awesome place with some really great people, and it's really fun to just chill out in. If you aren't in my Discord, it would mean you're missing some updates, in which case I feel like I should tell you this is not the big video I keep yip-yapping about. That video is coming much, much later. It is a lot grander in scale than I had originally intended, and it's taking a long time. A very long time. Like 30 minutes and not even close to halfway long time. So, yeah. This video was something short, was supposed to be something short I could get out in a little over a month, meant to bridge the gap between my last video and the, next one, which, I honestly don't know when it's coming out. It is still coming, I can guarantee you that. And because you've made it this far, I've prepared a little special something, don't know what to call it, that I whipped together in about 15 minutes. Take a look. Today, I'll tell you the story of the lost book of prophecies.